Barack Obama, The Audacity of Hope, Thoughts on Reclaiming the American Dream. Dive into the insightful world of The Audacity of Hope, Thoughts on Reclaiming the American Dream by Barack Obama. This summary provides a thorough examination of the challenges facing American society, politics, and the economy. Witness Obama's exploration of empathy's role in creating a better democracy, the impact of globalization on American workers, the importance of faith in modern America, and how to address issues in inner-city neighborhoods. Through nuanced discussions on race, family values, and foreign policy, Obama presents an inspiring and compassionate vision for the future of the United States.
Lack of empathy in America. The Republican Party's ownership society worldview highlights individual differences and promotes conflict, rather than acknowledging each other's needs and focusing on shared values. This lack of empathy results in weaker groups suffering the most. America's biggest problems could be solved if people made an effort to see the world through each other's eyes and committed to a stronger sense of empathy, asking each other, "How would this make you feel?" This is essential to create a better democracy and tilt politics towards the needs of weaker members of society. The influence of money and special interest in U.S. politics. In the United States, political campaigns rely heavily on funding, either from politicians themselves or wealthy donors. This results in politicians becoming more like their donors and spending less time with ordinary Americans. Special interest groups, such as labor unions or big businesses, also have a significant influence as politicians must please them to maintain their support. Additionally, politicians are entirely dependent on the media for reaching their audiences, which often results in simple, exaggerated portrayals of candidates. To reduce the power of special interests and the media, the author suggests mandating public campaign funding and providing free airtime. The impact of globalization on American workers. The global economy's rapid changes in recent decades have brought both benefits and challenges, particularly for the ordinary American worker. Although American companies remain among the world's leaders in various sectors such as software, they face fierce global competition from thousands of products worldwide. In response, companies outsource, automate labor and scale back their benefits and healthcare programs to remain competitive and keep shareholders happy. Unfortunately, while the costs of living have risen, the average worker's income has remained stagnant, with no increase between 1971 and 2001. This is partly due to the winner-takes-all economy, where ordinary workers bear the risks and burden, while the rewards often go disproportionately to the rich. In this provocative and insightful book, the author explores how globalization has challenged the American worker while providing fascinating insights into the current state of the American economy. The American Dream. The American culture is built on the ideas of hard work and virtue, with the belief that these will lead to wealth and prosperity. Despite this belief, the average American worker is struggling, with only the top 1% accumulating more wealth. Republicans continue to advocate for corporate tax cuts and other policies that benefit the wealthy, neglecting the notion that capitalism requires shared benefits and risks. In an ownership-focused society, this belief becomes even further from reality. The role of faith in America. America's laws have long been rooted in the Judeo-Christian moral tradition, and many of the country's reformers were motivated by faith. However, with the growing diversity of religions and non-believers in America, it is essential to acknowledge the power of faith and its role in society. While reason and faith are distinct ways of thinking, it is important to base political arguments on principles that are accessible to everyone, regardless of religious affiliation. Religion still teaches values shared by Americans, such as honesty and sympathy. For many, faith provides a sense of purpose, and without it, individuals may be led astray morally. Religious organizations like churches play a crucial role in American society in sponsoring daycare and senior centers, mobilizing members against inequality and cuts in social programs. They also teach us to consider the needs of others rather than just ourselves. Changing face of America. America's transition from a white-dominant country to a diverse one has always been its strength. However, with the growing population of Hispanics, there is skepticism about immigration policies. Despite the ongoing challenges faced by minority groups, America has progressed in the right direction, with the poverty rate among African Americans decreasing and the formation of a strong black middle class. Nevertheless, the underrepresentation of blacks and Latinos in corporate boardrooms and politics, along with their lower salaries, suggests the need for implementing non-discriminatory laws, providing more opportunities and scholarships for minorities. However, the lack of social justice that prevails across races has posed a new challenge for working and middle-class people, leading to wage stagnation, inadequate social security, and ineffective public schools. Thus, a collective effort towards addressing these deep-rooted issues is critical for America to thrive and provide equal opportunities for all. Inner-city neighborhoods and the need for opportunities. The challenges faced by residents in poor inner-city neighborhoods are often considered a hopeless case, leading to calls for stricter law enforcement and an end to welfare. However, this mindset doesn't help, and change for the better can happen. The lack of opportunities is the root cause of the issue, and it results in poverty, teenage motherhood, and criminal behavior. A solution is to encourage girls to finish high school and avoid teenage pregnancy. Inner-city kids require medical care and preschool programs along with educated caregivers to give them a positive head start. Many assume that a life of crime is the only option for young men in these neighborhoods. However, with better education and job prospects, they can lead productive lives. Providing the same opportunities available outside their neighborhoods, education, and job prospects, would help many young men lead lives of structure and dignity instead of becoming criminals. The decline of American family values. As family structures and dynamics have evolved over the past 50 years, parenting has become increasingly challenging for many Americans. With rising living costs and stagnant wages, most families require two incomes to make ends meet, leaving parents with less time for their children. To tackle this problem and promote family values, policies such as accessible affordable preschool, after-school programs, and high-quality education for children raised by single mothers in poor neighborhoods need to be implemented. Such policies will support good parenting and contribute to breaking the vicious cycle of poverty, teenage motherhood, and crime. The flaws of an ownership society. The ownership society ideal that advocates for less government, taxes, and regulation disregards the economic and social divide it creates. In reality, a laissez-faire approach only benefits a prosperous elite while leaving the lower class struggling. The belief that free markets can function without regulation is flawed, as it leads to societal layers based on inherited wealth. A truly working free market relies on a process of trial and error, with government intervention ensuring fairness and efficiency. The concept of opportunity is essential, enabling anyone to succeed through personal efforts regardless of background. Only an equitable distribution of wealth and government-regulated free markets can make opportunities available to all members of society. When the free market fails, as it did during the 1929 crisis, the government must step in to restructure the social contract between employers and employees. Therefore, there is a need for government intervention to ensure a successful and harmonious society. Investing in education for a thriving economy. The key to a thriving economy in the global market is investing in education to support social mobility and create a vibrant free market. The government must lay a strong foundation for a free market by providing the right infrastructure and access to high-quality education for all. Unfortunately, America's education system is failing to meet these needs. High school dropout rates are higher than ever, college fees are rising steadily, and inner-city schools are in a hopeless state. Congress has made it harder and more expensive for students to obtain a high-quality education, further hindering social mobility. To compete in the global economy and develop innovative companies, America needs to invest in its education system by funding research, training more scientists and engineers, and recruiting better teachers, rather than prioritizing high-paying jobs in industries like law. The peril of foreign oil. America's reliance on foreign oil is a severe threat to its economy and national security. With only 3% of the world's oil reserves and a consumption rate of 25%, any disruption in supply could be disastrous. Terrorists can easily target oil fields and hurt America. Moreover, spending $800 million on foreign oil daily subsidizes unstable regimes. The government must invest in 21st-century energy sources and promote higher fuel efficiency standards to achieve energy independence. Such investments can also create thousands of new jobs and help build new industries for the future. American foreign policy in the 21st century. How the U.S. should adapt to new threats in order to promote democracy and liberty in the world. American foreign policy has been shaped by the threats of the Cold War, which were represented by rival states with large armies such as the Soviet Union. However, the 21st century has brought new threats in the form of smaller, militant organizations like international terrorist networks. Despite this change, the government revived its Cold War strategy, and instead of the Soviet Union, small despotic countries like Iraq were identified as new enemies. This approach not only generated significant military spending and casualties but also fueled anti-American sentiment across the world. To promote American ideals of democracy and liberty, the U.S. needs to engage in a battle of ideas with these ideologies. However, it is a battle that cannot be won through military intervention, as it is always a result of a social awakening. Therefore, the U.S. needs to lead by example by perfecting its own democracy, including pressing for human rights and not detaining suspects without trial. And in cases where military intervention is necessary, it should rely on multilateral, rather than unilateral actions as it did in the First Gulf War. This approach would not only reduce anti-American sentiment but also the costs that America must bear.
In conclusion, The Audacity of Hope offers crucial reflections on contemporary American society and politics, urging for empathy, understanding, and cooperative action. By addressing pressing issues such as the erosion of democracy, inequality, globalization, and the shifting nature of America's culture and demographics, Barack Obama presents a thought-provoking case for change. By fostering a stronger sense of empathy, commitment to social justice, and investment in education and social mobility, America can reshape itself into a fairer and more prosperous nation. This book provides valuable lessons for those who seek a better future for the United States, grounded in unity, opportunity, and justice.